Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. He's ruined it now.
Hey, you've ruined it. You've ruined it. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another one of these, starring the fabulous Chris B, the wonderful Tony V, and I'm here to make up the numbers. It's been a crazy week. We've lost Ozzy, Hulk Hogan, and now we're about to lose our minds because Morgan Gibbs-White hasn't signed yet. Welcome, gentlemen. I presume some of you are gentlemen. How are we getting on? Or should I say, Chris, table 6, more wine.
Does it show?
You never know. He had 3 bottles last night. The thing, we're going to put a little straw poll out here for you folks, because I think we need sometimes humiliation is the only way you can deal with some individuals.
My plate, I do what the fuck I want. That's all I'm going to say.
Sit down, bitch. I'm talking. So you get served a steak, which is the thing of dreams. There are literally dancing girls presenting you with the plate. It's amazing. It's the best bit of steak you're ever going to see in your lives. Do you take a dinner lady like spatula of mac and cheese and splodge it on top of said steak? That's my question. Yes or no?
Mac and cheese was featured lobster, so that was the defence. It's almost surface.
Well, there was lobster in the mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's not mac and cheese then. It's lobster mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it gets worse. Hang on a minute. That's right. Everybody's saying no, you're a wanker and leave your food alone and eat it as nature intended. There we go.
Yeah. With the hooves on and everything.
Yeah, with the hooves on.
So yeah, pretty a desperate week. First, we lost the god that is Ozzy. That was very sad. And then, what you going to do when the red, white, and blue comes running for you, brother?
Oh God! Apologies to anybody under the age of 90 who doesn't get that last reference. Now, the Ozzy death was it almost. I sensed it was almost like he got his affairs in order.
Yeah.
By doing that last gig. And I have to say, from our man on the stands, the mood in Birmingham was just surreal. He's definitely part of the fabric of the city. And that was my first gig I ever went to. So for him to go, like you said just off mic, these people we grew up with. But yeah, it's weird because since the advent of the internet, you get lots of people telling you far too much about themselves, and invariably it's not particularly wonderful viewing. And I remember, people like Robin Williams died, and people go, oh, I can't do it, just can't do it. And I'm thinking, well, he made some films, he was quite amusing, but I didn't know him. But this thing with Ozzy, this is somebody I definitely grew up with, and I don't profess to have known him. But it's a mad thing that he's not going to be around. And the quality of the music that he was producing in recent years had just been insane. So, yeah, happy times.
Happy way to start the show, but it just reinforces to me it's a sign of you're getting old when all those iconic people that you grew up worshipping and admiring and respecting as a kid are starting to head to the Grand Lodge above.
Well, it's exactly. I've got my shirt done up the wrong way. Oh, no, I haven't. Oh, yeah. Right. So, football, and football on the side. Tony, I'll start with you because
is that with mac and cheese?
God almighty. Honestly, they may... So, how are you feeling about the football? Because I sensed a disturbance in the force during the week, and particularly Chris there, who we were quite happy to talk about in front of him. There was a lot of nothing happening. What are your feelings on the whole thing? Have you had enough? Are you angry? Are you at the gates with a lit torch?
Well, I just wonder what's going through Morgan Gibbs-White's mind at the moment, because if somebody wants a move, they're normally doing everything they can to foster a move and rabble rouse for it and just basically make themselves complete pain. But he seems he's very quiet. I know you said about he's got the having a baby and things like that, which obviously is going to be the priority at the moment, which I can understand. But that the thing is, even then, you're still thinking, okay, once that's done, he's now off on the tour in Portugal. So that the sort of baby thing's not so much done. It sounds a bit callous, but it's done. The baby's been born, they're moving on. So it's just that I would have expected things to have moved on by now. But it doesn't mean to say it's not going to happen. But the thing is, the longer it goes on, the less likely it is to happen. And
Well,
it
I
doesn't
read,
seem we're not hearing noises in the background, are we, mate, about what's going on elsewhere? It all seems to be focused on this, waiting for this to happen, but with no other noise about anybody else in the background.
You consider some of the players that we've had taken from us that we perhaps didn't want to lose, and we'll start with Modric. We'll talk about Berbatov, and then we'll go on to Gareth Bale. Now, who was Gareth Bale's agent? Was it Fritz, or was it the bloke who imprisoned people in his spare bedroom and did nasty things?
I understand.
Jonathan Barnett.
I understand Joseph Fritzl imprisoned people, but I'm advised by our lawyers it's yet to be proved that Jonathan Barnett, who has tons of money and he's extraordinarily litigious, I understand there's nothing to be proved in an open court of law that he took anybody hostage and did them up the wrong.
Yeah, but you look at the noise and mischief he caused to Tottenham when he was Bale's agent. He was fully focused on getting him out of Tottenham and into the Bernabeu, and we're seeing so little action from this guy. It's black and white as far as I'm concerned.
Sorry, he took him out of Tottenham into the where? Was that the Burner what?
The Bernabeu, that stadium in Madrid.
Oh right, I just couldn't remember how it was pronounced. I was just double checking.
Sí, señor.
Por favor, deme dos cervezas. Muchas gracias.
Morioka!
Table 6.
Richoka.
Well, I actually read an interesting-ish report, which shone a torch. I'm not sure how much light came out of it from the Manchester Evening News. This was a couple of days ago. And they were basically saying that, yes, they had an interest in young Morgan, who I'm going to refer to Morgan, but they had then moved on and picked up Rayan Cherky and Tiani Rinders, whoever they are. And they obviously saved themselves a few quid. But the problem being, well, not the problem, but the kernel of this, if you like, was the fact that Malinakis, or whatever his name is, he was anticipating getting up to 100 million. And clearly he'd got fixated with this number, that this was going to be his Declan Rice moment.
Yeah, I read
the sale never happened. So where's my 100 million? Where's my 100 million? And then there's Daniel Levy going, 60 million, that's agreed. And suddenly it's like, what in the name of sound of breaking plates, and you got one very unhappy bubble.
Yeah, well, I read the same, pitched at the 80 million mark, but Man City apparently pissed off that Marinakis was prepared to take them for a ride, in their opinion, when there was this secret release clause for 60 million quid. So they could have paid over the odds, and £20 million isn't a small amount of pocket change that's down the back of the sofa, is it?
Yeah, Marinakis has lost this argument. It's just a question of whether the player really wants to go. He's lost his argument. That's dead.
Look at the last 24 hours. Alexander Isak coming out at Newcastle and saying, "I want to explore new opportunities." I bet you within 10 days he's posing for a picture at Anfield with his new Liverpool shirt.
And the crucial thing to remember here, and I know some people take issue and other people appreciate how brilliant and constant and what fucking straight bat I keep with all of this nonsense. But Sky Sports, hang your head in shame. You have wasted so much of people's time. Not my time. I don't subscribe to you anymore. You're a stranger to me. But you've wasted hour upon hour banging on about these legal threats of action. Nothing's gone into the Premier League. Nothing's gone into a lawyer. It's gone nowhere. This was all piss and wind. And this guy, it would be lovely, but it isn't going to happen because everybody's so busy cuddling each other and having unicorns and rainbows. But somebody needs to say at the end of this guy is a big fat clown. And when you grow up, kids, don't grow up to be a big fat clown. All this talk of legal action, I'm going to complain to the Premier League, I'm going to complain to the PGML or whatever it is. Nobody was listening because it was fancy. It was the ranting of a child. And covering this story, we've got all the usual people. Football London, the whole game. Oh, well, it's very complicated. No, it's not complicated. Slavery was abolished in the 1830s in this country. So sorry if that upsets your narrative, but this kid is not being held hostage. It's taking forever. in our view. But he's got the situation with his wife, which I've got to say, many of us have been there. It's a tough gig, and you need to make sure that's organised, or the rest of your life unravels very, very quickly. So what? We've signed players after we've played our first game virtually. I mean, Spurs the only window that we have been proactive in. I can remember in my lifetime, and everybody's already so quick to accuse me of being old. Is the Gareth Bale money, which we spaffed up the wall. So I get it. We're all frustrated, but I mean, I was in a taxi last night, and the taxi driver it's going back to the old one when you were at work, and he said, "Oh yeah, he's just phoning. He says he's sick." But how did he say? Well, he didn't sound sick. The taxi driver last night didn't sound like he had his clog to the floor. And I was trying to make the point to him is if he didn't get me for that train, I was staying at his that night. Sometimes you have to put a little bit of a bug in the arse crack of their fucking jeans and just tell them to get on with it. And I understand it, I really do. But Daniel Levy is not known for acting promptly unless he can save himself 25 pence.
But I am one of those frustrated people. The way Daniel Levy, surprise, is acting is as it has been in the footballing side for the last 25 years.
This is a footballing matter. How did you expect him to take it urgently?
Yeah, it's at the detriment of the football club. As you look around us, look at how significantly Arsenal have increased the squad with. They've brought in the Zubamendi, the Spanish midfielder. They've brought in Nodi Makueli from Chelsea. Supposed to be signing that the Swedish centre forward.
Gyökeres.
Yeah, Gyökeres. And then you look around you. Chelsea doing ridiculous business. Man City, they've signed those players that you've said. Liverpool going out and saying, well, we actually go win the league and we go win the Champions League. The money they are splashing. We qualified for that Champions League. Again, what was the point? Because we've only signed effectively 2 players. We signed Kudus from West Ham. We brought in another project-type player in the Japanese centre-back. But
I'm sorry, Chris. Best will in the world. That's not a signing. That's a free gift you got on holiday. And if it turns out you take it to the Antiques Roadshow in 20 years' time and they say to you, actually, it's from the Xingpao dynasty and it's worth bazillion quids, fine. But that's not a serious statement of intent.
What I'm saying is he is a signing. We have signed him. The other signings, Mathis Tell, we had him last year. It was no great surprise. We need to spend 30 million. But the point I'm getting at is that we're not taking forward steps. And we've got so much junk, like Ashley Phillips, his second consecutive season on loan at Stoke. If he had had a good first season on loan at Stoke, there would be a number of lower bottom 10 Premiership clubs thinking, let's give him an opportunity. The fact that he's having a second season in the Championship says he's not at the quality, at the level to play Premiership football. That was another wasted signing, similar to Joe Rodon before him. We take all these speculative
spot on.
Speculative punts on kids, but the kids don't go on to become men. And we're stockpiling junk. And like the whole Son thing, yes, we go on a tour of Asia on Sunday. Yes, he's going to be there for the marketing power that he brings and to sell merchandise and to get everybody happy and clapping and taking photos and painting their faces with South Korean flags. But he should have been well gone. We are not proactively managing the squad. We're not strengthening. And you say, apart from the obvious, the commercial value of the Champions Leagues, what's the point of us qualifying for it when we're not going to make a fist of it and give it a go?
But our beloved leader says that we want to win the Champions League and the Premier League, don't we? Come on, Chris, you're just being negative.
I want free beer for the over 50. I want free beer for the over 50s, and nobody's taking me seriously either.
No, it's just...
Anything else?
It's my moniker at the bottom there. Is it crowdfunding for Spurs? Because that's what it's
Brilliant.
So you were rightly picking up on my frustrations during the week in which we chat in a closed chat group, but it's just to the point of getting pissed off. You see all these people around us doing things, and we're just sitting there watching the world go by. We're watching somebody sitting watching paint dry on the fence in the training ground car park, and you think,
Just behave, boys and girls at home. Let me just tell you, we have to take this man very seriously, because if we don't, and if I see anybody in the comments saying, well, he's got a point, I will start posting screenshots from our private messaging group. This is like being trapped. There were people whose families were taken hostage by Hamas who made less fuss than this guy this week.
So, yeah. And
he's bringing out all the classics today, isn't he?
Yeah.
Zing!
Yeah, I suppose since you acquired that illegal fast stick, you have got no obligations to Sky any longer, have you?
Sorry, say that again.
I said since acquiring that illegal fast stick for the
no, I don't. The fast stick I bought from you, Chris, has been great, and I would certainly recommend a smooth transaction and excellent service.
Yeah, with so much content, it's unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
So they've told me.
So mac and cheese with allegedly some lobster substitute on top. Just getting the early votes in, and it looks like you're going to have to wash your mouth out with soap and water, Christopher. People just aren't buying it at all.
Well,
they're not interested. They're actually saying that seagull has done something disgusting here. That's the last time I dine al fresco. So Morgan Gibbs-White, he's just given birth. No, so there's obviously going to be a thing while the Greek guy is going, "I speak to nobody," and all the rest of it. So what is going to happen at Spurs? I mean, I've seen some dreadful articles, and I have to say, we've been doing our level best to put out some very low-rate content to cover the void. But people putting out stuff and saying, "Oh, these are the choices that we'll go," and I don't see anything that has any conviction about it at all. We just don't. And we're going back to this Mark Gwee thing or whatever. I mean, it just bores me senseless.
The issue with Morgan Gibbs-White, or his brother that you used to refer to, Morris Gibbs-White.
Like Gibbs.
Staying alive, staying alive.
Staying alive. It's all down to the fact if there is a clause, it's a contract, it's a legally binding document. If that clause is there and we feel that we've activated it and we've done nothing wrong, then we need to show a bit of teeth and we need to start putting this backing this bloke into a corner and getting the barristers and solicitors and the legal powers involved.
Yeah, but the trouble is though, and I love you dearly, and I love some of you less dearly, but the reality is, this is football. This is like a box of fancy dress clothes, so you can dress up as the king or the queen or whatever, but you're not actually in charge of anything because they dress up clothes. They're not legally binding. Well, Berbatov went on strike. He was smuggled out of Spurs with a tartan rug over his head.
With no disrespect, I would like to hear the view of a barrister or a legally qualified person, because you're an asset.
Chris, if you want, give me a home address and I'll have a dozen people around there who'll charge you £500 an hour to tell you something you want to hear. But it isn't enforceable. It isn't enforceable.
If it's in the contract, then my thought would have been...
it's in the contract. Yeah, and slavery's been abolished. You can't make people do what they don't want to do. That's the thing. I get your frustration. I totally understand it.
It's written down and it's signed by both parties. It's accepting that if that so.
So why aren't the jails full of people who didn't keep their word in football contracts? Honestly, I wish we had a football manager we could bring in at this point who's sitting there bald, shaking, chain smoking, trying to explain to you.
I'm asking the question. I would like to understand what the position is, because it sets a dangerous precedent if he turns around and says, "No, I'm just ignoring it." So in the future, you could say to a player, "Okay, yeah, come in, we'll give you this clause," and then just ignore it and not do anything with it. So there's got to be some level of communication.
Okay, let me nudge you. I don't want to put words into your mouth because that would be reprehensible behaviour, and you're far too canny to fall for it anyway. Would you use a phrase in free conversation such as "throw him in the reserves"? Would that be a phrase you'd have in your locker for such an occasion?
I think there are a number.
If it's a legally binding document, and you're paying him £1 million a day or whatever it is as a footballer, you're going to throw him in the reserves, are you?
he's an asset to that football club, isn't he? They've got two things. They either cash in and move him on, or he's a depreciating asset moving into the last 12 months of his contract. If he downs tools and doesn't show any interest on the pitch, he's not in breach of his contract. You're still paying him a weekly salary. He becomes less attractive to potential buyers. And does a coach want somebody who's not playing at 100% and contributing?
I totally agree with you. I'm not disputing a single. Are we disturbing you, Tony? Are you doing your Airfix modelling? Are you?
I'm just now bored with the whole bloody thing now.
But no, the point I'm making is that since whenever it was that the Sky money came in, everybody's got more money than God. And one of the things you can do if you've got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of cash is you can have super injunctions. You can do all sorts of wonderful things with the law. So why is it then that if what you say is true, and I believe in my heart of hearts that you're speaking the truth, because you haven't said anything that's inaccurate, why up until now has nobody taken legal action?
Well, that's why I'm asking.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But surely it's because it's entirely unenforceable.
Who knows? That's what I'm saying. There is no reporting on it. But what we
I think it's entirely. Well, there is reporting. That's what I'm saying. I don't want to hear it. Sky Sports wanging on about, it's very, and they're going to send you a letter. This is toffee, absolute toffee. Nobody's going to sue anybody.
But what we need to do is either move on. Right. We can't be doing this whole thing where we just wait for something that's never going to happen. And if they're saying,
but that's with respect, that's what tends to happen. I mean, Dimitar Berbatov isn't in the reserves at Spurs. He was sold. He was sold very late in the window. Luka Modric, the same thing.
But that was at the detriment.
I know it's the detriment. But players inevitably get sold. I stand by my guns that Morgan will be a Spurs player. I'm convinced of it. But I'm not prepared to lose any more hair. As you can see, I'm fighting the good fight at the moment, but I'm not prepared to lose any more hair over this because I just think it'll never inevitably happen if it's true that the player says that he wants to play for Tottenham.
And if he doesn't,
he won't come to Spurs. I mean, it looks as if Manchester City were unconvinced, which may or may not be an alarm signal. Who knows? We've already bought one player who scored lots of goals, but otherwise a bit duff from Forest. I don't know. I don't profess to hold all the answers, but I do know that you can't. It's like that thing. You can take a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. The contracts aren't worth a wank, and that's in football. And there hasn't been one example of anybody being contractually strong-armed into doing what they agreed to do on a previous occasion. So those two signatures, as you say, on the page there, it's all very nice, but they're not really worth anything. Not really, because it's not a donkey that you take a stick to, which I don't approve, incidentally, kids. Better off using one of those electrode things that the Belgian police that'll get a liver into them. But no, it's the business of a guy saying, I don't fancy it anymore. I want to go to Atletico Madrid or Real Madrid or whatever. There's nothing you can do.
The thing is,
though, it's a human being. It's a sentient thing,
Yeah, the problem is that I don't disagree with any of that. The problem is that normally by now you'll have a player starting to agitate for a move, and he's
100%.
How do we know he hasn't?
That's true. We don't. But normally these things get out. If someone wants to move, they make it very public because that's the way you put pressure on a club to just go, screw it. This guy's not interested in us anymore. We've just got to get rid of him. And it's been so quiet. Tumbleweed would be loud. And that's
I agree with you, but maybe, and I'm just positing this, okay? Because I'm trying to move away from the mental block of I want it today, because we know that I want it today. But bitter, miserable experience of Daniel Levy and football has taught me that contracts aren't worth anything. Levy isn't never at a rush to get anything done unless it suits him specifically, and maybe Morgan himself doesn't want the optics of this to look like he's a petulant nitwit. And so he doesn't want to throw his career, any rapport he has with the Forest fans, down the toilet. Do you want to go to Portugal for 1 week? You're not asking him to go to, I'll choose my language wisely here, but somewhere that isn't very nice for a week. He's going to Portugal to work on his tan, try some nice dishes, maybe get himself a lobster mac and cheese squidged on top of his cornflakes or whatever. But the point being is, it's hardly, it's hardly being interrogated by the SS. He's going to Portugal. It's going to be beautiful.
I think our views differ, and I'm just saying it's not in Nuno's interest to have a player that doesn't want to be there and isn't going to feature.
Well, I think we've seen where Nuno is in the food chain. He gets publicly dressed down at the City Ground on Saturday afternoon. Monday morning, he gets a contract extension because Fat Boy realises he was acting above his pay grade.
The issue is, it seems that all the eggs are in one basket, focused on White. We've got to be doing other stuff. Like there's these noises coming out about Paulinho or whatever, the Portuguese central midfielder who used to play for Fulham.
Is it Paulino?
Paulinho.
One in one.
He was a guy that was at Fulham, and he's gone to Bayern, where he has not exploded.
Regardless, he's orchestrated violence in the middle of the park, and we could do with him because
I like that phrase. What can he bring to the park where he can orchestrate violence in the middle of the park?
He can sit in front of the back four. He's the water carrier. He does the shithousery and then releases the offensive players to do what they want to do.
Are you his agent? Are you working for him?
Yeah, but the moment,
that is great, Chris. Honestly, that is great copy you're coming out with there, mate. That's spot on.
At the moment, we're stuck with Bissouma. Come on, he's 29 in a few weeks. We all have spoken.
Bissouma's yesterday's potatoes. He's a complete waste of space.
Time again we've spoken. We need to fuck him off. If you were serious about yourselves, you'd say Papa Matasar, great athlete, but what else does he bring to the table? What is he? He's not offensive.
He's a skinny. He doesn't offer enough. He's lightweight. He's got a little bit more about him than Brennan Johnson. He's got a lot more about him than David Keel or whatever his name is. But that's not enough. It's just simply not enough.
This is what we need to do, Tony. We need to go out.
And
Tony.
Yes, Tony.
Need to central options in the middle of the park, but we're not. And we're
Tony's busy ordering himself some more pills.
Hey, it's payday today. What can I say?
Yeah.
No, but you're right though. I agree. Is that you know if you're in a transfer window, you don't wait for your only target to decide whether they're going to come to us or not. You've got your fingers. You know, who misses? You've got your fingers everywhere.
In other pies, I think the phrase.
Not necessarily in pies either. You know what I mean? Chums. But you've got. There's so many players out there, on the market. Why is it that Liverpool can just go out and go bang, business done, bang, business done? Even freaking Arsenal are doing it now. Chelsea, are just spending for fun. It's just ridiculous.
We know why Liverpool and Arsenal can go out and get it done, and why Chelsea can get it done, because whatever you want to say about them, there's a cachet to them as a football club. Yep. Your average footballer, you say to him, the likes of Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and the player immediately goes, have any of them been in touch? Well, no, but Spurs were interested. Oh, fuck that.
Yeah, no, I don't disagree with that. Can't disagree with that.
The cachet attached to those brands, those global brands, that's something that Daniel Levy looks down his nose at and says, yes, but I think if you look at the revised figures for the Deloitte Valley, it's clear from and it's just LinkedIn garbage.
It's stunning, mate. It's like he's in the room, mate. Honestly, it's pretty.
Tune in next week when you hear Miss Piggy say. But yeah, I mean, we've had to win the Premier League. But yeah, I mean, he is infuriating. He is absolutely infuriating. In fact, Chris, going back to that Gibbs-White thing, I would be storming the bloody gates and just screaming, get on with it. And it is always down to ENIC. Always down to ENIC.
I'd be saying if it's not done by next Friday, we walk away because there's other targets, there's other people in football, and we've got to get ourselves sorted.
So who are the other targets? Who are the other targets? I'm not attacking you. I'm just curious because I mean, great. We'll run from one cul-de-sac to another. I mean,
Leandro Dabiao.
Yeah. Diabala, but that might get held up, but due to image rights, there's always an excuse.
Yeah, image rights. He can come in here fucking naked, and I wouldn't recognise him. Well, I might recognise parts of him, but I mean, image rights. And that's again, just in case you thought I was falling asleep, kids. The fucking press who can't do their jobs properly, and it needs like, oh yeah, I'll buy that for $1. Just fuck off with this. Just report the news, and if there isn't anything, make something up that's fun. We know what we're doing. But these idiots, they don't. Oh, if there's been a complaint could be made to the Premier. No, there won't be. No, there won't be. Everything you've said is correct, apart from everything you've said. You're an idiot. Go away.
So we got, what, is it 23 days until the football season kicks off?
You've got one of those countdown clocks on your desktop, haven't you?
No, I'm just very clever.
Just a notional grasp of basic mathematics.
Yeah.
But it's the thing you say about who's available, but it's more to do with what, not so much about who's available, but where do we need them?
Well, you
And
look
Who
at
are you looking for?
you look at you've not signed, and I won't say backup because I don't believe in signing backup. I believe in signing competition. We should be signing people to push for that place. But if a doggy goes injured, oh great, we've got Ben Davies to come back into the team. That excites me. And then on the right side, I guess we go to have Porro and Spence, so we'll probably be happy with that. But in midfield, we haven't done anything of note. We've brought in Kudus, great, but we've still got get rid of Son. We need to send him off to LA Galaxy and wish him well. We've got this second South Korean kid coming in. That's just what he is, a child. And then we got Odebear. Well, he's a kid as well. And from what I saw, wasn't particularly great. So we need game changers. We need big names to compete with those against us. We're not going to get it. Solanke, if he breaks his leg, God forbid, great. We've got Richarlison, whose vagina snaps more often than not, and is.
But you say Solanke. I'm sorry, he's yet to be really any great upgrade on Richarlison, and all we get from the Spurs fans is the usual pitiful piddle of excuses and what he does is right, and talking to us as if we're morons. None of these people are good enough. And I tell you something, Thomas Frank, I'm not having a dig at Frank because I think he's a decent guy. I think he strikes me as an intelligent guy. And once again, it's great to see somebody talk into looking at people's faces. He's got an open expression on his thing, on his boat, and he's talking and he's up, his chin is here, so he's like enunciates well and all the rest of it. But he's right. We are going to lose games. You look at this squad. This squad is capable, even under his tutelage, is capable of losing games because there isn't enough quality there. You can strike, and you're going through them there, but I think we need to be brutally honest with ourselves. Bissouma, no way good enough. Solanke, no way good enough. These are leftovers. These are true 24-carat leftovers.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, wasn't there in the chat you posted? Didn't I can't remember who posted it. There was that thing about Thomas
if it was
Frank
good, it was me.
Was it you? Was it?
In that
case, it wasn't in our chat then. But I think it might be you, Chris, where somebody posted that thing from somewhere where it was about Thomas Frank is going to have to develop the youth and academy players.
Yeah,
I've heard this before.
It's just like, well. But the thing is, is that as they say, nature abhors a vacuum. In the absence of any news, then you're going to get all this stuff coming out, aren't you?
Oh, sorry, you're talking about Alistair Gold with the buy to sell mantra that he likes to wheel out every time that he hasn't heard anything. You're absolutely right. These are stock phrases.
Yeah, nature abhors a vacuum, but they abhor Goldmire beer even more. So. Yeah. It's just bollocks. But the problem is that people fill in the blanks, and the big issue problem we've got is that Spurs at the moment are firing blanks in terms of the transfer policy.
If Spurs were a game show, Les Dawson would be the compare.
Hey, don't knock on Les. Don't knock on Les. Classic, mate. Classic.
Blaggity blank. No, I mean it's. But I would speak in more practical terms in the nature of wailing and gnashing of teeth, that if Spurs don't get their act together, then there's only so much Thomas Frank on his own is going to be capable of doing.
Mate, but the problem is that there's so little noise. There's more noise coming out of the Fritzl's basement than there is out of the out of Spurs transfer window activity wise. I mean, for God's sake, you know this.
Rose West made more of a kerfuffle at the tuck shop this week.
Just don't ask her what she bought.
Well, I understand she was down there for a Tunnock's tea cake, and they'd sold out, and she went loopy.
Yeah.
I only heard that. I haven't spoken to her. It's
allegedly. It's allegedly. Yeah. It's allegedly.
It's all allegedly. Slavery was abolished in the 1830s.
What happened to this massive £300 million war chest and Lewis being completely pissed off with the brand image and God knows what?
Well, I don't know. I mean, this is again. I'm going to flog this horse because the bloody thing's half dead anyway. So the RSPCA aren't going to do me, and they themselves are recommending which frozen chicken to buy. So I think the options of being sued are even more limited. But we got this business where they were talking about the money and all the rest. A Football Insider, they ran a piece which got enormous traffic, saying that a deal was to be done for 500 million quid. And that was why we were spending, because we had all this sponsorship money coming in. And when you read the article, they prefaced their article, sort of the beginning of the second paragraph with, of course, as yet, no deal has been agreed with anybody.
Perhaps.
And in breaking news, today is tomorrow, if you were reading this yesterday. I mean, these people are charlatans, but the fans lap it up.
Perhaps Levy thought, what new ways can I pull the wool over the eyes of my fans? I tell you what, I'll bid for a player I know that I can never sign, but it will show that allegedly we want to spend 120 million and 115, 120 million in the space of 24 hours. That 22 hours where we were due to sign Kudus, we were potentially in for Gibbs-White, we were being linked with Xavi Simmons, we would go get Saudi Arabian owners, we would go be cash rich. That was a great time. I look back on that fondly. Now we've returned to normality and it's the same old shit, and you can't polish a turd in respects to some of our players.
But I think I did this with a pal of mine, and I don't wish to speak ill of you two, but a third person, where I think I've worked out that Football Insider had actually run the close to announcing naming rights partner about 10 times over the last 10 years. Literally, they must have it pop up on their calendar.
Yeah.
There's been no development, zero progression with anything. Oh yeah, but we'll run with that. That's just around the corner. And it is just, it sounds pathetic to say it, but it's scandalous.
There's been more noise coming out of Ghislaine Maxwell in the last 24 hours than out of Tottenham in the last few weeks. Blimey.
Prince Andrew has been more vocal in the recent days.
I remember Prince Andrew. No sweat.
No sweat. I can't talk now. I'm off for a high street pizza.
Yeah. Pizza Express in Woking. Suddenly, his footfall has gone up.
Tramp nightclub, eh? Those were the days. I remember being turned away at the door at Stringfellows. So where do we go next? I mean, is it just to go and get some therapy somewhere?
Well,
I've not been well the last few days. I've had one of my chest things and all the rest of it. But the amount of garbage that's been put out. Sorry, I was talking over you and I will continue to do so. But it was the amount of garbage that's been put out. I mean, there's been inertia isn't as exciting as what's been going on here.
So I'm just reading something that's broke, and it's saying that Ollie Watkins has asked Aston Villa to leave him if suitable bids come in. Man United and Newcastle United in contention.
Why would he want to go to Man United? I know Man United's got cachet, but seriously, that club is going to be 4 or 5 years away from doing anything.
They're still a big club in world football, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, they've got the cachet.
But they have that gravitational pull when it comes to cachet, which I'm not dismissing you, because you look at them and you go, God Almighty, and they've even got beaten by us in that Tin Pot Cup. That's just for you listening in Australia, by the way. But they're in a shocking state of affairs. They have been since Sir Alex Ferguson gifted them a burnt-out car for his retirement present, because he decided to retire Manchester United opposed to the other way around. Hello, we got a caller on the line. Speak to me again. You're through. But no, I mean, it's just surreal. But they've got Kinder Bueno has signed up, and Ollie Watkins, suddenly they're going to be a powerhouse.
Mm.
That's the thing. It only takes that degree of adventure to transform the narrative, because the narrative of what we're saying there, which we all agree with, Manchester United, absolute burnout, absolute washout. But you give them Bueno and you give them Laughing Boy Watkins, and suddenly, whoa, hello, they look a bit tidy. And that's what needs to happen at Spurs. And I don't think Kudus is it, frankly.
What Man United has done, which we should take note of, is they identified a series of players. So they've identified Anthony, Rashford, and a number of others. Nacho, yeah, who he has said don't want anything to do with them. They're not going to feature in the team. Don't want them training with the first team squad.
Yeah.
And they've just not ostracized them, but contract aside, they've said, look, you don't feature. We're giving you.
Sorry, Chris. We're playing very fast and loose with the English language. Can I just say, I misheard something. Did you say contract or no contract to one side? I mean, it's a legally binding document you're talking about, isn't it?
Because I know how it's going to stoke the fire within you. Anyway, I might say you're a massive cunt. I'm not one of those.
The mischievous glint of the eye was apparent from 3,000 yards.
Yeah. However, what they're doing is managing.
And further to which, my lord,
they are managing the squad, aren't they? And they're getting rid of stuff. Our problem is we can't move on. We can't move on dead wood. And
whereas good old Spurs, what we do is when we want to move people on, we give them a new 2-year contract.
Overvalue them. And like Sonny, I read some nonsense the other day that we've valued him at 20 to 25 million. He's 33 years of age. Anybody who's watched him will see that Mother Age is catching up with him. For the benefit of the club, just get rid of him. You've had 10 years out of him. You've had a good old time. Move him on.
Now, I wonder, and I preface it with that because I don't know, but I wonder, and I do suspect there are commercial deals surrounding Sonny that aren't all in-house, that some of them are owned or mechanics of which with Tottenham.
Are we going back to the image rights? Are we going back to
those? Yeah, no. I think I wouldn't put it past Daniel to say, I know you have an agent, but I've got some contacts across them, and for him to get his little 3.5% in, are you right there?
It was like he was in the room again. It's scary.
But I don't think it's beyond the wit of man that Daniel would manage to engineer himself into it. Now, ordinarily we give that, but to do the old percentage thing, and so Sonny's earning goes beyond just the shirts, because I think anybody in their right mind, or anybody in their devious mind, shall we say, would be remiss of them to overlook such a cash cow and just say, well, that's brilliant, we can sell loads of shirts with Sonny on the back. Hang on a minute, we can sell fucking ice creams to Eskimos with Sonny on them. That's how I'd look at it. And I would say without hesitation, Daniel Levy's far sharper at this sort of stuff than I am. I'm a child in that world. But I would think he would be going ka-ching all the way to hell. I mean, sorry, the bank. But yeah, that's what you're going to be dealing with there.
He's got to get Daniel's got to get his South Korean ducks in a row, hasn't he? Because he's obviously got this young 18-year-old, so he's obviously got to get him into the frame so he can then take over from Sonny and be the South Korean cash cow. So that's probably what he's doing. Alongside him into that role.
Alongside the Japanese poster boy, anybody would think that we're absolutely looking to dominate.
Well, I'm just waiting for us to have a K. And of course, you've got those wonderful hoodies with the K-pop as well, haven't you?
Yeah.
250 quid for a nylon t-shirt.
I know. But
seriously, I mean, I know I'm old. I know I'm old, but do me a fucking favour. Seriously.
But they were being sold like they were going out of fashion because they're only a limited edition. And people in Korea, this K-pop thing, you have no idea how powerful a phenomenon this is. It really is absolutely incredible. And if you stick anything with K-pop bands on it, it just sells. It just goes. End of story.
Having seen your collection of Stone Island merchandise, H, I know that you've spent more than £250 on clothing in the past. Don't lie to me and say not.
I have hemorrhaged money on clothing, and I made comments in the past which infuriated some weak-minded people because they were going about the cost of tickets, and they were saying, "Oh, because I said I got coats that cost more than that." But no, the reality is that this is a vicious, dark place. You know, people are literally selling like Tesco bags turned inside out with K-pop marker bend on the outside, limited edition, gov. You know, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
What is truly indicative of the way things are going at the moment with us as a club in terms of our transfer activity is we've spent 45 minutes not talking about any targets. We've only talked about one target, Morgan Gibbs-White, which has been in the press for God knows how long. Yes, there's nobody else. There's nobody else, and that to me,
well, there's nothing happening. I mean, there's nothing happening, and I always moan about traffic, and I have to say that traffic during this window for Spurs has been shocking. And I've got colleagues working on other platforms, other sites, and I'm seeing what they're doing. I've got access to the analytics. I'm seeing what they're doing, and they're doing it's going bonkers. Because you can imagine being an Arsenal fan or a Liverpool fan or a Chelsea fan during the last few weeks.
And seeing all these players coming in and thinking, Jesus Christ, we are going to have a real good go at it this season. Whereas Tottenham, far from it.
And you see, the thing is, because the whole thing, and I think this is something that Daniel Levy hasn't really cared about or doesn't understand because he looks down his nose at football. I keep saying this to people, and eventually people catch on to what I'm banging on about. But the momentum that you create, even if it doesn't deliver, because here's newsflash, right? I could get thrown out the magic circle for sharing this with you, but Arsenal, Chelsea, and Liverpool aren't all going to win the Premier League next season. Only one of them will, right? So that, but the happy vibe within those three different fan bases will mean more shirt sales, more merchandise sales, more people fighting to pay for tickets because the momentum is with them. You know,
but it's more than the Premier League, though, H, isn't it? You know, there are other competitions they can win and be competitive in. You know, and that's the thing. You've got the Champions League. You've got the Ropey League. You know, whichever. You know, there's lots of other competitions out there. Premier League obviously is the number one. Well, you could argue the Champions League is the number one if you're talking about true greatness. But you've got the Champions League, but the Premier League. So there's actually 3, 4. We got the FA Cup. There's other competitions out there that you can say, well, look, if we're not going to win that, we're at least going to have a good crack at that. So there's plenty to go for. We can't even say we'll be lucky to win the Johnston's Paint Trophy at the moment.
You look at.
I quite fancy the crack at the Papa John thing. That's it. Yeah, and they now got a garlic dip which doesn't taste of sewage, which is a plus.
Look at how ambitious Sunderland and Leeds have both been. Look at the signings they're making collectively, and you think fair play to you. And Leeds still potentially in for your boyfriend Manor Solomon. So
well,
another
let's stoke the fire on that one, shall we? Let's crack on with that.
Can I just say to all of the people who have suffered the most tremendously embarrassing and humiliating brain transplants, where you've had your brain removed and thrown into a municipal skip. Thank you for your contribution to the Manor Solomon debate. As his boyfriend, I can say with hand on heart, yes, he is always injured.
Yeah. But again,
and hopefully Gaza is turned into a car park by the time we finish recording.
Again,
but no, it's the thing about that kid. I take it all back. I don't want to see him at Spurs. He's too good to play for Tottenham. He's always injured. Doesn't deserve a fan base.
Just for reaction's sake. But
no, I'm not. I've had enough. This kid, he's got a mild sprain or whatever it is. I don't even know. I don't care because I'm not a Leeds fan, but I do like Leeds. In fact, I might go and support Leeds. I think I'd be happier there. At least they get behind their players and they buy players. That would be the ultimate don't do a Leeds. I jack in the whole phony Harry Hotspur thing and I go and support Leeds. That would suit me down to the ground, actually. And my traffic would come back. There we go. I've answered all the riddles. See you, lads.
However, we seem to be investing in most of the youth team from Leeds. We're continuing to bring in all these 16, 17-year-old kids when, guess what? How many times has anybody ever graduated from the youth team and made it into our first?
Nobody.
Zero.
I mean, yeah, there's some idiot out there going, I think you forgot about centre back of Harry Kane. No, I haven't forgotten. I've deliberately airbrushed it from my mind because all we did was ruin his career and then sell him to some Germans that made him happy. That's the reality. If anybody wants to play with that, anybody wants to argue the point.
Harry Kane, to quote the oft-quoted phrase, was a generational talent. The people like him just don't come along very often.
Well, you certainly don't make them by scattering seeds into a window box and then giving them sunshine and water. That doesn't happen.
Absolutely.
Another one that really gripes my shit is
Has
your shit been griped recently? Do you know? I think it was
Well,
a matter of things when you steak.
Well, the things, strange things happen. People turn. People turn.
Yeah, they do turn, don't they? Yeah.
Dane Scarlett, he's never going to make it in the Spurs first team. His only goal last season was against a lesser team in the Europa League. He's 22, 23, had a number of loans, maybe early 20s, but he's had a number of loans at lower league clubs. Just admit he's not good enough. He needs to be sent off to fulfill his passion to play first team football somewhere. It's not going to be at Tottenham.
I get the sense with the academy that it's almost like with a business. I won't bore you with the whole story, but the idea is you can't just sell off stock cheap because you slash the share price. Okay, that we all understand. I understood when I was working for Virgin. You've heard that story before, but you can't just sell off stock and go, "Hey, look at that! I've made loads of money overnight. We can do something interesting with the money," because you destroy the share price. But it's almost like that with Spurs and these academy players. And we get on this slow rotational thing where everybody going, we had to put up with Windy Coys, the racist, homophobic weirdo that he is, pro-Palestinian crazy nut job. But these guys, they say, oh yeah, he's ever so good. He's good. Oh yeah, he's fantastic. And none of them come through.
I actually had an interaction with a guy yesterday on Twitter, Spurs Over Everything, and his handle at Daniel Boyle.
Absolute mental patient.
Both of his two brain cells were obviously engaged in one day. And you thought it's idiots like him who give Tottenham supporters a bad name. Like
that Windy Coys guy, right? Who I would say misled a generation of Spurs fans, telling them that everything was going to be jammed tomorrow. This guy was pro BLM. Ladies and gentlemen, I conclude my case for the prosecution. I mean, that guy was it that guy that you shared in the group, and he actually listed Dele Alli as a success story.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it now. This
Really?
is who he's listed. This is who he listed. Doggy, not nowhere near as good as he was before his injury.
Don't dislike him, but not a world beater.
Yeah, Sarr, not really. Sarr is an average player at best.
Very
not terrible.
Bang average.
Spence, again, the jury's still out, but there's a player there, but we're nowhere near realising that. Dele, as we've said, Vuskovic, who's just come back, and he's supposed to be the great coming of
wonderful. I'll be impressed when he lands. That's all I'll say.
And Lucas Bergvall, who he's got a lot of promise, but nowhere near the finished article.
These are all people that have occasionally made people smile.
We build up,
not make them a legend or a household name.
We build youngsters up far too easily, and we start using words like generation and baller and
Watch him cook.
Give me a season or two, and then I'll make judgment on whether you.
Let him cook. Who is he? Fucking Greg Wallace. Honestly.
Actually, that's bizarre because I've not seen Greg Wallace and you at the same time. Is there anything you want to share with the audience?
What can I say? It's just.
It was nice out, so I got mine out. Hey.
Oh, look, twins.
Hey.
You need a trim, Tony. You look quite fluffy under that cap.
Fluffy.
Thanks for noticing, Chris. Now I'll have to have the downstairs matching the drapes.
I was going to say
Make it stop.
Yeah, you resembled a testicle.
Well, from myself, Christopher, and Fluffy.
So what's our thoughts on Alfie Devine? Does he end up at a championship club before the closure of the transfer window? As I can't see him.
I think with a lot of these guys, and we need to be realistic, because if our kids, if we were the father of Alfie Devine, he's earning more money than perhaps we have in our lifetime, right? Yeah. So you say, yeah, but he's been a bit of a washout. Well, not really. You remember when we used to live in that postcode, and now we live in this one?
Hey, kids, come on. Just remember, there's always players like Harvey Elliott out there.
Oh, don't.
Yeah, but and that again is he's a completely different player to Morgan Gibbs-White, and they're saying if we can't sign White, we're going to sign Harvey Elliott. All my friends
why would he want to come here? From where he's been? Why would he want to come here?
Well, I read somewhere the other night that we're trying to sign Rodrigo or whatever from Rodri.
Right. Okay,
over under the cover of night.
I'd rather sign the Greek toilet cleaner from that other Spurs show, Tottenham Away or whatever it is.
Well, is this in the same territory as Alexander Mitrovic, who's on like 450 grand a week?
That was my suggestion when I said I had Birmingham for him. You pointed out,
Chris, I don't think you quite thought that one through, mate.
No, I didn't. No.
Yeah, 3 bottles of red wine and a mac and cheese dolloped on top of his steak. He was off of his tits on mind-bending love drugs. Look at him.
Fucks with your brain, man. Fucks with your brain.
Yeah. Breakfast this morning considered of aspirin, sponsored by Waitrose.
Oh, Waitrose.
Oh, Waitrose. Yeah, you mean you're not on those chalk pills like the rest of us?
Yeah. Us have to go foraging for our pills.
Well, at your age,
go street fighting to get our pills. Had to make it past the crackheads and the zombies.
We have to split ours in half to make them last.
Look at him there with his
green
screen t-shirt on.
Yeah.
Now, what's the mood been like in Shea Chris B since the demise of Hulk Hogan, who set you on this path of weapons grade steroids and ridiculous haircuts? And now it's over to Tony for the news and weather.
Everything's shite.
But we are away at Luton tomorrow.
You what?
I said we are away at Luton tomorrow.
Yes, where I'll be hosting another no-show watch along a ding dong.
Yeah.
As soon as there's a game that's actually broadcast, because I tell you something, I'm not giving fucking Spurs play a penny. Now, I know a lot of people have watched Spurs play this time around on Reading, and it was wonderful. Well, happy Christmas for you. Last time around, it didn't work for me. And it didn't work for lots of other people. The quality of the thing was shocking. So, once we're on TV, on a reputable station, and once again, thanks for that Fire Stick. Happy with the service and keen to recommend, Chris. He's not happy, is he? He's not happy.
I think it's quite despicable, H, that you'd be so cowardly as to direct it in Chris B's there. Well, we know you're selling the Boy Hotspur branded Fire Sticks on internet.
Well, it's stolen skyboxes I'm selling that are branded.
I heard you were Birmingham's equivalent of Walter White. Amphetamines a go from the Boy Hotspur Towers.
Oh, I am living in a caravan. Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah, well, you know what he's like. He's probably got his weapons grade ketamine and what's that ivermectin or something like that. All that sort of stuff.
I think actually his go to drugs Rohypnol, judging by the amount of women that have been abused in his pad of late.
Well,
just
look,
for the benefit of the tape, Mr. Hotspur has not been Mirandized and is currently unaware of his rights.
yeah. Well, you've got to remember, Chris. This is all according to H anyway. You know, you don't really know the truth, do we? Let's face it.
No,
There's three sides to every story: yours, mine, and the truth. That's what they say.
All it matters is what the defence and prosecution can agree on.
Yeah.
And on that note, I'll look forward to that case of fruit shoots arriving.
Tune in next week when you'll hear Nurse Piggy say.
Did I tell you about my latest? Did I tell you about my latest faux pas last week? Getting on a train in London, calling for a cab, 3 stops from where I got on, ending up in Peterborough.
How the hell? How did you manage that?
Alcohol and trains don't go well together.
The best one I've done is went out in the smoke. Went out when I was living in Essex, and missed the last train home because I was still carousing. Got to Liverpool Street, and of course my ticket had expired, and it was pre-internet, pre-proper mobile phones, and all the rest of it. So I begged the guy on the gate, and he looked at the state I was in. He said, "Look, just jump on that one, mate." So I jumped on the train, heading to Colchester. I got woken up some while later in a thick, like, gloop of my own sweat and bodily excretions, just lying there like a corpse. And the guy says to me, "Tickets, please." So I started to tell him in my broken English accent, because I was in this terrified state, about the ticket expiring and all the rest of it. And he said, "So where are you going?" And I said, "Colchester." He said, "Where do you think we are now?" And I looked out the window and I said, "Might be coming up to Chelmsford." And he said, "Yes, sir. Some of us for the second time today. You've been to Norwich." Missed the entire fucking thing. Yeah, 2-hour round trip. Lovely. Sensational.
Brilliant stuff. I
That's
have
what
I have
happens when you have your last drink at 6:30 in the morning.
I have a similar claim to fame. When I was working in London, I used to live in Cheshunt.
All right.
So I got after imbibing a somewhat copious amount of lovely liquid.
That was a bit non-specific, Tony. There was alcohol, I presume. Lovely liquid.
In those days, it was speakeasies and stuff like that. You see, that's where it was.
Yeah. I had more of a vision in your mind of you on your knees saying, "Well, I've got to go home soon, boy."
Yeah. Fuck off. But I was waiting. I completely. It was coming off. Completely missed my stop and ended up at Audley End, which is like at near Cambridge. And so I thought, well, I didn't dare ring the missus because at the time the kids were very young. So I thought, well, I'll sit on the platform until the next train comes along, because that was about 1 o'clock. So it was about 5 o'clock in the morning. My mobile rings. It's my missus saying, "Where the fuck are you?" And I say, "I'm at Audley End." And she said, "Why don't you fucking ring me?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to wake you up." I said, "I don't fucking care. I didn't know where you were. I've been awake all night anyway." And it's just like,
oh no,
just
you can't do right for doing wrong, can you?
I know, honestly. And and so she had to drag the kids out, and come and pick me up at Audley, and then I had to go to work. And it was just like,
that is the walk of shame when your entire family comes to correct your
mate. That was just to say that your head down and you're sort of like you just want a black hole to suck you up and just make you disappear. That was it.
Well, your children who are too young to understand.
When you
What? Well, your children are being lectured on the evils of drink.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Dad's a bad person.
Don't grow up to be like Dad.
Yeah. Oh, those are the days.
Any more?
By this time next week, we'll have signed 16 players.
Absolutely depressing.
Who will be the next celebrity death that we're all upset about?
Hopefully it'll be me, and I could leave this charade behind. But until my death, I'd like to thank Chris and Fluffy for today's show, and fingers crossed that we sign anybody soon. That's it for now. Good luck. Keep it Tottenham.
Boom.